Well, hi there. Something quite a bit totally different for a video this time. Normally I tend to do vlogging throughout the rest of September, but not this time because we need to be like what September should be. And because this is actually going to be quite a bit of a different toy review, I'm actually going to be pretty much covering this toy reviews later on in this video. But there's one other subject that I think has been highly trendy, and it's something to test the algorithm with. Let me just cover the webcam. And it's all about the Great British gas shortages. Now, does anyone recognise this problem easily though? I'm sure I do, because I can tell you what, it has been completely and utterly trendy so far in the last couple of days. Surely, as I can tell straightforward, that because there's been loads and loads of people driving around like headless chickens, well, I can tell you what the guys say, it really starts to paint a very dark picture. What's really going on actually is pretty much all to do with Brexit though. And not only that, there's also been a strike. There's actually been a huge shortage of truck drivers recently though. And I can't do lavishly detailed videos like this today because unfortunately I don't have the amount of power, as I can tell straightforward, to do videos like this. But I did actually realise this. I didn't actually realise that this was a subject of matter that I feel like I want to go ahead and talk about until I saw pictures like these, and also empty fuel stations as well. And I saw that syndrome all over the place. Empty fuel station syndrome, how crazy is that? And because of the fact there's been loads and loads of people driving and acting like headless chickens, or running around like headless chickens, it's basically panic buying 2.0. In fact, panic buying has been a significant cultural sort of, how would you say, effect after the virus. But not only that, it's also to do with Brexit. And I'll definitely say that this news report has actually been completely and utterly concerning for the fact that as we come towards winter, we'll pretty much be in shortage for many gas supplies, a little bit like the winter of discontent of 1978. This really does start to paint, as I said earlier before, a very dark picture on what's to come. And I definitely say there'll be lots of people saying, "Oh, this is horrible. How could this be allowed? This should have been stopped months back." But you know what? This is actually quite, how would you say it? Very, very concerning. And I know our winters are pretty much mild because we're pretty much situated in the UK. But yet again, I could tell you what, straightforward, this really does start to pretty much, how would you say it, make a very huge worry for many people there, I suppose. Sorry, I can't speak that well, but yet again, as I said earlier before, I cannot make very greatly produced, lavishly detailed videos like this. But yet again, the British gas crisis has been completely and utterly viral though. In fact, it's a viral topic that has been covered so much in the news for a fairly long time. Even though that we've been having loads and loads of trouble with Brexit at the moment, and also with COVID-19 as well. That's also another thing that we've all been relevant with since 2020 overall, of course. And panic buying is not only just being caused by many things from people from stores and supermarkets, but also at fuel stations as well. And yes, a lot of petrol companies are pretty much under threat of being defunct. And you know what, it really does start to worry me. How am I going to pretty much use my gas wisely though throughout the rest of October, December, and also towards next year's early spring? And yes, that really does start to panic, of course, overall, it really does go to show you on how much that COVID can relate into food shortages, and also for the fact that Brexit can easily relate back to the amount of truck drivers which have been retired not because of Brexit, but also because of COVID. Sadly, these days, I have to say they're over, and that really does, how do you say it? It really is quite concerning though, isn't it though, Not only that, but apart from the fact it's really concerning, prices are soaring as well though, and I have to say a lot of gas crisis news reports also pretty much relate to the fact that the fuel prices are actually going to be really expensive. Now, this really is quite scary news actually though, whenever you think of it, because well, obviously we need a heating and we need gas for cooking and even a hot bath or a shower or anything like that there. And I'm just talking quite simplicity and quite simply because obviously in a very simplicity way, because I just can't do complex videos like this these days though. And it's a real headache. Like, when will this gas crisis would last though? And I did find a wiki page of the United Kingdom gas crisis, which began in August of 2021 in response to rising wholesale import prices of natural gas in the UK and a shortage of stockpiled gas supplies in the country, as household gas supply companies were unable to significantly raise the prices that they've charged for consumers for their gas supply due to the sale of domestic fixed price contracts and the existence of legal restrictions on the maximum annual charge for household gas tariffs. As a result, beginning in September 2021, many smaller gas supply companies went out of business due to the rising gas costs, sending them into bankruptcy, leaving customers to be reallocated to new gas companies at higher prices by the Office and Gas Electricity Markets Mechanism. Now, yes, I could definitely say this, as I can say it for the third time, it's really, really dark. It starts to paint a very big dark picture of what we've got there at the moment though. And yes, I've seen a lot of companies which have been highly affected by this very huge gas crisis. I know it's basically a subject of matter that I would never ever thought I would cover this again, but yet again I'm just so glad I can cover this, because normally I don't often tend to talk about the very trendy topics, but I'm doing this because I'm using it as an asset to test the YouTube algorithm and see how it likes it or not though. And overall though, I'm just looking at very random pictures and various random things about the gas shortage in the UK, because this is pretty much almost an educational video, okay? And yes, I know British Petroleum, or as you would may call it, BP, abbreviatedly, closes loads of UK stations, or shall I say, fuel or gas petrol stations due to the shortage of truck or lorry drivers, okay? And it's very serious. It really is very serious because, well, the lack of truck drivers really does start to paint a very scary picture of what's to come though throughout the rest of autumn and winter as well. And overall, I definitely say Boris Johnson may pretty much, have a go at trying to implement some of those, it really has been an extreme shortage going on there. We've seen gas shortages, not only that, but we've also seen beer, milkshake, and chicken. And those shortages, it really is quite, panicky though. And also the fuel stations would also, would actually grow some more fuel. It would actually grow some more fuel for ESA. Once again, I cannot talk that well though because of the way I'm producing videos at the moment though, and it really is very nasty though, and it's actually quite sad though whenever you start to think of how COVID has been impacting a lot of the very big fat cat companies though, like BP and Shell and Esso and Mobile, even Texaco as well, eh? And the gas shortage is very concerning. I know there's been loads and loads of farmers culling their pigs, which really does sound very concerning there. And you know what? It's stupidity, as there's been loads of cars spilling out onto roads beyond forecourts while waiting for fuel. And yes, if I go ahead and show pictures like this overall is pretty much total diabolicy. I don't know if I can't remember what I just said, but I don't know if diabolicy is pretty much a real word, but yet again it's very concerning for many people, because obviously whenever you think about Brexit and also for the fact that whenever you think about Visa there, it also relates back to the many foreign truck drivers that we would normally have during normal times, coming from like, the Netherlands from ferry day, or, France from either ferry or train, particularly with, like the Channel Tunnel and all that stuff like that one, eh? And we've also got some exports from Scandinavia and also from other countries. I would definitely say the Med, and all around the world really though, eh? Apart from Europe. And overall though, I have to say, this is crazy. In fact, we've seen this so much though, a lot though, and in fact, apart from normal times, this is now becoming ultimate crazy times. I know earlier on in the spring of 2021, we had a huge, gas demand in the United States. but now in the UK, look at this. This is very concerning. It's such grim news, I have to say. It's a very grim picture as well. I mean, this is what how gas stations would normally be operated to be like, though. This is how it would be like during crazy times. Now let's just see a very huge, I'll just say, picture comparison, and tell me which one do you prefer. Normal times, crazy times. Normal times, crazy times. Normal times, crazy times. If you don't know what I mean though, but I have to say that, you know what, it really is concerning. Apart from that, this crisis, I've never expected this so far though. And strangely enough, this would have also put Boris Johnson's government under strain. But nevertheless, I hope Boris Johnson can pretty much implement some of the problems that he can solve, and also formulate some of the ultimate problem-solving issues, some of the other, how would you say it, recoveries to go for, I suppose. I'm just thinking that, you know, that it's going to be quite tricky though, and Christmas is also going to be hard though, not only because of COVID, but also because of the amount of gas that we depend on. Seeing this is extremely grim though, and I have to say that the government, I don't know how much money are they going to be spending in terms of how much we're going to be pretty much, yes, I know there's been loads and loads of news reports about this whole fuel crisis hysteria, and yes, I have to say it's also about Labour as well, and that also is very, very concerning as well though, and it's just so sad though. You know, I'll definitely say, whoever thought, looking at these sort of news reports like this, can obviously explain why is it and why this is happening. Why do we have to pretty much think about these sort of unprecedented situations like this though? Because obviously I'm not very good at pretty much explaining why these problems occur and vice versa, and it really does happen to a lot of people though. If people are pretty much desperate for the amount of gas they want to use during winter, because, well, winter is cold, and you know what, as winter comes closer, we will also be using up as much energy for our cooking, our washing, I would just say our cars as well, or wherever we're going around and whatnot though, I suppose. And that's the trap. That really is the big trap, because I can tell you what, straightforward though, guys, as you're watching this, prepare for some really, really savage prices though. I'll definitely say that as we come towards winter, and winter is coming, thank you Game of Thrones, yet again, it really is a panicky sort of time of year, winter time, because, well, in relationship to the gas crisis, and also to the flu crisis, and also the COVID-19 pandemic, well, this picture does feel like, wow, it's extremely grim though. And yes, there's also been a shortage of carbon dioxide though, which, although it would probably hit food supplies so heavily though, and that's really sad though. I know it's good for the animals though, because carbon dioxide is pretty much good for nature, I suppose, particularly with animals though. But I know plants are pretty much, how would you say, not power plants though, but I'm thinking of real plants though, obviously. It's going to be quite a very big problem with the amount of shortages, I suppose, and it's really, really, how would you say, sad, I suppose, seeing this though, and there's actually been loads of news reports about the carbon dioxide shortage. Although the carbon dioxide shortage has been so bad for us, as we humans deprive for so much gas and all of the other resources that we all need in our life though, it really is a very huge concerning sort of picture. And if anyone who's a very big news reporting expert, please tell me, because I'm not into this sort of content though. But yet again, there's been a shortage of food supplies, apart from the fact that it's caused by COVID-19. And I know, remember that moment that whenever you go to the stores though, you see a lot of people pretty much hoarding for, you know, toilet paper, noodles, beef jerky. I'll just say there's so many of that food that's been used up. Chocolates, crisps like Pringles, and all of the other stuff. And obviously, it's a little bit light on how people are pretty much losing that much effort to do so. Like, you know, there's that one moment I used to remember seeing people grabbing junk food at the stores though that I go to, because obviously the more comfort sort of food though that we often tend to refer to is people going for the junk food. And I definitely say when people go for the junk food, well, they often tend to get, you know, relaxed and comfortable and all that stuff. But anyways, apart from this absolute news report of, how would you say it, diabolicalness, let's go ahead and do some toy reviewing. And strangely enough, just to pretty much stay away from this ultimate topic of anarchy, or how would you say it, panicness, obviously. Let's go ahead and take a look at some flip-up toys. Obviously, I can see a few Penguin Couple toys, as they're starting to see a resurgence in popularity now. And we're going to be starting with this toy here. It's called the Flip-Up Origami Franchises Penguin Couple Sled Razor at Bunny Hill 5-pack, which costs about £7.50. And there's the back of the packaging, which looks like that. Looks like a bunny petrified running away from a penguin on an inner tube sled. That's quite weird, eh? Actually, I love how the bunny rabbit has been detailed like that, I suppose, eh? But anyways, let's go ahead and see what we have, because I know this product is going to be completely and utterly good or bad or different there. I don't know about you, but hopefully we won't get some sort of paper crisis, I suppose. So this little bunny rabbit that you get in the set though, eh? Nice and green. I mean, it's not easy being green. Well, it's not easy being super gassy though. Sassy and gassiest I could think of, eh? Because we had a look at a news report about the gas shortage that we've been looking around in this country so far, eh? Yes, it looks quite a very strange looking bunny rabbit there, I suppose. Yep, looks quite cute by the looks of it, eh? Also got some very nice ear detailing, some pink inside, I suppose. I mean, look at that. Looking all very nice, I suppose, eh? Marvellous. And we've also got these two box units there. I think they're very useful to be created into some sort of sled or inner tube, as you would call it, eh? It looks so nice. In fact, I might do the other one as well. It looks quite nice. And we've also got two penguins, which is quite nice. Well, looks, I suppose, eh? And yes, I think what you're supposed to do is to bring these two boxes together though, and you sort of make them to a box like this. You could pretty much store stuff inside and what they're doing, which is quite good, I suppose, eh? Like that. But I think the more significant aspect is I've actually found a very weird sort of description here. It says, works well on slopey areas, even on flat ramps. Now, obviously, this does make sense. The boxes can be moved around. Obviously, the bunny rabbit can be used as an obstacle, and poof! Obviously, the bunny rabbit gets clobbered by the inner tube sled, or sleigh, what we're going to call it, eh? And we've also got some penguins. We've got a green penguin. Once again, it's not easy being green, eh? Very nicely detailed penguin there. That train's been taking over the video, eh? Whew! And you know what? It looks quite nice, I have to say, in this bustling toy view, eh? And the train's actually starting to lose some of that battery fuel. A little bit like in how trains need fuel and stuff like that one, eh? Because obviously we're talking about the gas shortage. And there you go, it's probably the same sort of penguin designs. Obviously, I've just noticed that some of the penguin models, they often have got like different shades of yellow. This one's much more of a brightish, almost limey yellow though, in colour though, eh? It looks quite nice, that blue penguin, before it gets covered by the train from me. And I should actually take a look at the green penguin, because there's actually been a bit of an error here. There's some sort of weird sloppiness on the top, like so, where the beak colour approaches towards the eye, which isn't very good. And you can actually see there's a bit of it here as well. Now, I did actually acknowledge that these problems so far though, because well, I've actually been quite great at solving problems, and I did investigate the one so easily, eh? But anyways, it's quite nice. You can just race with your friends, and you've got like a little bunny rabbit to pretty much use it as some sort of obstacle. And bam! There you go, the bunny rabbit's down, being clobbered by the SLED, obviously. Oh, I thought I was going to say the word inner tube, I'm just going to say the word SLED as a very simplistic sort of word, eh? And I don't know how many Penguin Club World toys I'm going to be making for next week, because we are going to be seeing a very huge resurgence of these toys in production, I suppose, which is quite interesting, I suppose, eh? And yes, I did also had a go at the Club Penguin private service as well. And speaking of Penguin Club World, I've actually found another toy, which I can't remember where I placed it there somewhere, but I think it's quite strange. I've got a funny feeling. Strange, isn't it? Alright. Oh wait, it's here. We've also got another one of those. It's called the let me try and grab this product here. It's called the Hydro Hopper Obstacle Speedboat and Watercourse 12-pack, which costs about £13.99 or £14. Doing this in a bit of a very fast sort of manner though, because it can be highly unpredictable whenever I'm going to have breakfast early or not today. Look at that, there's a penguin riding on the speedboat with two of the other penguins. I think that pink penguin should wear some sort of scuba diver mask though, but you know what? That yellow penguin is enjoying the frivolity of this Hydro Hopper while avoiding this very weird frog in the middle there. And let's go ahead and unpack this and see what we have. And what's also quite peculiar about this toy is that the speedboat has got like some sort of wire, which is obviously a paper wire actually, I suppose, connected towards another box which looks like that. I mean, this is really amazing. I suppose it's like some sort of inner tube, and the train's been taking over this video again so much so, eh? And there you go, that's the speedboat. It's got those weird lights on the front. There's no control panel on the boat there, but you get the gist of what I'm meaning, eh? I suppose, eh? It looks quite nice. Obviously designed after a speedboat, and that train's taking out the nozzle of the speedboat, which is not very nice. But anyways, we've got some penguins as well. I need to unload as well, even a few more components I didn't realise they were here though, I suppose, eh? Obviously we've got a brown penguin here. Of course we've got a brown one, if you can see it from the distance, eh? I'll take the speedboat though, just to see the penguins clearly though. Obviously we've got a brown penguin there, we've got a yellow penguin. Obviously, if they're pretty much in that sort of colour of yellow, but used by pencil, I'll definitely say they're compatible with water, I suppose, eh? Very, very nice. Very differently designed flippers by the looks of it, on that brown penguin, which is super unusual. And I'd definitely say brown is like the youngest colour for a penguin, I'd definitely say, I suppose, eh? A little bit like how juvenile and chick penguins are. This one's a yellow penguin. You know, penguins can come in different colours though, not only just black and white, and the possibilities are endless. And we've also got a blue penguin, which is like your archetypal club penguin, apart from black. Again, looks quite nice, very similar in design, looks interesting. I suppose I would have preferred if the colours were a bit more, I would just say, a bit like this penguin here, the brown one there, eh? A lot more clearer, rather than just scribblies, because it would end up being messy there if there were so many signs of scribblies. And I've also got a pink penguin here. Okay, you can pretty much make these penguins ride the boat. Obviously, I suppose you can pretty much load your penguins on the boat for a bit of a very nice sort of speedboat cruise. I'll probably put the blue and the pink penguin like so. And because I think this game is pretty much, well, it's basically a toy based on a game, I suppose, eh? But not just in Club Penguin, but there's also like a mini game in Club Penguin called Hydro Hopper, and that's where the name originates though. It's quite nice, I suppose, eh? Look at that! That penguin riding on the back is the one riding on the inner tube, I suppose, eh? Looks like water skiing by the looks of it, eh? And we've also got some obstacles here. We've got a log. And we've also got two of these lily pads, which look like that. Obviously they're heart-shaped lily pads there. That's what the logs would look like, eh? Only one of them. And we've also got a couple of frogs, which look like that. Sadly, I don't think they would stand that well, but yet again, they're actually quite nice-looking frogs. Maybe they're based on the white tree frog, maybe a green tree frog somewhere in Australia. I don't know, actually, but it looks quite nice. Very, very interesting, I suppose. And we've also got a couple of ducks with a yellow bottleneck, which is quite strange, even though they look a bit more portly than skinny. Pretty plump looking, those ducks. Pretty fat, aren't they? But what's very important about these ducks is that they've actually got licensing info on the bottom here, which in a sense it's a very nice thing to have. I suppose if you're a duck, I mean, what in the ducking world would you have a duck without any signs of licensing info? Well, that's definitely nice, and you could also use them like in sled racing or in hydro hopper as obstacles for the penguins as they water ski along the water and they stumble across some frogs, a couple of ducks, and even a log. And also, let's not forget the lily pads as well, which are pretty much heart-shaped. Okay, putting the penguins back. And as I said earlier in this video though, as I'm making here, obviously, I might be making more and more of those penguin couple themed toys. Hooray! And I'm actually going to have trouble packing the boat, I suppose, because it's going to damage the packaging there. But you know what? I'm being very careful, very, very nicely there, Okay, so that's the penguin couple toys done. I'm going to be taking a look at something a lot more sedate, and what we normally tend to take a look at is cigars. The Leicester Blackback Gulls small family, well, I should say family small flock 5-pack, £7.50. Didn't know what to say, so can't really talk that well though, because obviously it's the morning, and not only that, that's how my YouTube channel sort of works, in a very inexplicably sort of weird mannered sort of way, obviously. And it's quite strange, we're doing these sort of cigar products. It's quite funny, I haven't released the small cigar themed products though, but we do have the, sorry about the one toilet, sorry about the one train, but I just need to do these videos right now, Obviously I'm just talking to the train now, because the train's taking on my videos, Kerosene! But anyways, we've got this juvenile Leicester Blackback Gull, looking a lot more darkish in brown sort of colour. I'll just say it in design, in sort of a very browny sort of colorization, I suppose, And luckily enough, I've just placed the camera in front there just to see these birds up close, which is nice indeed. It's quite strange. The eyes are quite black on those juvenile Leicester Blackback Gulls, but that's fairly normal because it's a little bit more cheaper than brown, I suppose. Nice clicking sounds in these birds, and once again they're a little bit more darker than the herring gulls. I've actually got another juvenile Leicester Blackback Gull product I might take a look at, but I think they're more like first wintering birds. These are the adults, obviously, and yes, I did have a look at some of the Leicester Blackback Gulls this month though, and it looks like they've actually gained their dark brown streaked heads. I think their dark brown streaked heads is a sign that winter is coming. Well, it's coming obviously, I should have set the word properly, but I just did, Not only that, but their dirty brown streaked heads have been gained, which is quite nice though, but not in this product, I'm just speaking about the real birds and not the models themselves, I suppose. And you know what? That sounds interesting. Alright, let's move on to another flip-flop product, Once again, in another thing of cigars. Oh, it's a juvenile herring gull. Small flock 5-pack, which costs about £8. That's the back of the packaging like that. I would have never thought herring gulls would be pretty much made like so. And it's actually quite nice to get along with herring gulls. Let's go ahead and unpack this. Oh, look at that. Much more of a lightest shade of colour, I suppose. If I grab the Leicester Blackback Gulls here, one of the juveniles, I suppose. Here's a bit of difference going on there. That's what we have. That's the Leicester Blackback Gull. It's got much more of a darkish sort of colorization like that. That's I'm being careful as I'm saying here. And this one here is the herring gull, and it's got much more of a lightish sort of tone, as you can tell from the body colorization and whatnot today. Sadly, I'm actually in a shortage of brown colouring pencils, I suppose, And it's quite sad. You know, I don't have that many brown colouring pencils, which are quite big. But you know, I might try and buy them. Maybe at a store that I may know of, Maybe the works of some sort. And yes, they look quite different. Once again, looking all cute. Very similar to Leicester Blackback Gulls, but a little bit more bigger. Even though I would often assume that herring gulls are a lot much more are like the same size as lesser blackback gulls, and lesser blackback gulls also being the same size as herring gulls. Although I'll definitely say these guys are a little bit more bulky than the lesser blackbacks, and strangely enough, it doesn't have those wing clicks as I find in the other product, I suppose, eh? But they are quite nice. Very nice toys, actually, I suppose, eh? And it's quite strange, a lot of the Seagull themed products are getting some very good reboots, but also some very different versions of the toys that I'm making of. And I have to say, it's quite weird though, that I've actually been completely and utterly busy throughout the rest of this week as I've been making lots of flip-up toys. Let me grab another Seagull themed product here. It's this one here. It's a flip-up Origami Flapping Birds British Wildlife Collection. First winter lesser blackback gull, lake feeding and fishing, flock 12-pack. Could have put the word frenzy in it, eh? And there you go, there's the back of the packaging here. It looks like those seagulls are pretty much after the carp that they fish with. It's almost like a very bland looking toy set though, but you know what? I'm just going to have a look at this, obviously, and see if there's any further changes with the carp. Whether there could be changes, whether there could be no changes, well, it doesn't matter. It's literally the same sort of product, eh? Oh, yes! Just the same sort of carp design, obviously, for the fact that some of them have got, like this one here, has got so much of all that sloppiness going on here, a bit of overspraying on that sort of detailing, eh? The mouth hasn't been that clear, I suppose, eh? But you know what, it looks quite cool, I suppose. Eh? You know what? It actually looks totally and utterly stunning for a toy fish, which looks quite nice. And you know what? It looks super, super beautiful, I suppose, and it looks quite amazing at all times. But not really certainly the worst of the worst or the best of the best, I suppose. That's strange. I thought that lesser blackback gull was broken in packaging, but thankfully enough, it has been saved by the others as well. I should have never tampered these guys a bit more, eh? Because if they were tampered so harshly like this, well, it would have been, you know, the closest thing to the blast. And you know what? These guys would be pretty much a waste if they were thrown away, especially in the waste dump land. And you know what? These guys are very nicely detailed, and they've got like nice. Yeah, it's so nice that they added the names on the birds, eh? Which is very cool in a sense that the way they've been designed. And I was going to be choosing herring gulls for this toy video, eh? Oh well, even though I've already done a 5-pack just now, eh? But I was going to be having like a much more sort of lightish reddish brown sort of bird in colorization, eh? But because I don't have that many brown pencils, so I have to use like a very tiny and stupidly small looking brown pencil, which is quite extremely small. I think it was a Crayola one. And I'm going to have to buy some more of those brown pencils though, because I'm seeing a shortage of brown pencils. It's not only just few, but there's also lots and lots of brown pencils I need to go ahead and buy at the stores though. It's pretty much the same, but yet again, obviously the wingtips and the black tail ends are a lot more pencilified, if that's a word, eh? They're more done with pencil because I need to contend with the water theme into it though, just in case that these toys are allowed to be played in water. And strangely enough, speaking of British Wildlife Collection, in water we've also got a juvenile or grebe small flock 5-pack, which costs about £6.50. And it's quite nice. It's a bit of a homage to what we had earlier on in April of 2021. There you go, there's the back of the packaging here, like so. And look at that, the little grebe is doing this fascinating dive like that. Beautiful, isn't it, eh? Beautiful idea. And let's go ahead and unpack this. And I wonder what's good or bad or different about these toys. We're just seeing they're juveniles, obviously, eh? And juvenile little grebes, I don't think they often go in flocks unless if they have to. I have seen pictures of some little grebes in a flock in water as they were swimming, I suppose. They've got like a nice looking yellowish orangey sort of beak. They've got like a brownish colorization of how do you say it? I don't know what I'm pretty much thinking of for this word. So we've got like a nice brownish colorization of the body, I suppose, and the well, apart from the body, I'm actually thinking about the neck and the, well, obviously this part of the body here, I suppose, that front part, and also this section here, from like a color, it's like a color combination of grey and brown, and also the head as well, which also looks quite nice and brown, I suppose, with the yellowish orangey sort of eye ring like that. Fancy that. And I've also got some more of these, as I'm showing you quite quickly. And at least they've got the names in it. I mean, I think what I could have done better was to add the licensing info on these toys a bit more effectively, since those toys are pretty much produced by my company there called FlipFlap. And you know what? I don't know about you. I don't know when breakfast time will be ready to be sooner or later, because I'm pretty sure if it's breakfast time, I'm actually going to stop producing this video. Well, you know what? I've suffered so many problems so far as I've been making videos like this. And you know what? That's pretty much the utter fail of me doing these videos like that though. And I would have never thought of producing videos at around, how would you say it? 8 o'clock though, or around at the 9 o'clock aisle there, I suppose, though, which is quite unusual, eh? Next product is the FlipFlap Origami Flapping Birds British Wild Collection Eurasian Blue Tip Roosting Flock versus Black Bean Aphids 12 pack. And it costs about £13.99 or £14, as you can see from the price there. And there's the back of the packaging, which looks like that, strangely enough. And look at that, there's some sort of weird aphid. Looks like he's smiling there, I suppose, eh? Oh, what's that? That's a strange sort of design, I suppose. It looks like it's got teeth on the front, eh? That is quite strange. I've got no idea what that is supposed to be. It looks like an aphid grinning, I suppose. Yeah, it looks like it's quite comical in the way the pictures are pretty much produced, eh? They would gag with a blue tip, acting like some sort of strange looking sandpiping bird, to be sure, when blue tips aren't really that designed as they should. Anyways, I'm going to unpack this. I mean, making blue tips is not really the most blandest thing I can ever do. I'm just running out of ideas. But you know what, we've got some aphids. It looks quite nice. Okay, so let's take a look at the aphids first. They're all quite cute. With their nice dark green to black colorization today. They almost look like beetles by the looks of course, eh? And you know what they actually remind me of? They actually remind me of the stink bugs that I've actually produced back then in June of 2020. As these guys can be absolute pests as well. And here's the other guys here as well. They almost look like spiders, but they're not spiders because they've got 6 legs. And one error that I've actually noticed was this one here. I thought we were going to have like the same eye colorization, but we don't. Maybe it's because of this, that eye there, that this aphid was having so much trouble, and in fact it's actually turning sunny now. So I'm actually going to turn off the light as I'm making this video. At least I didn't show my body parts like that on, eh? But maybe I should do, because I'm pretty much okay. Alright, let's move on to this blue tip here. Okay, so that's quite nice. And it's very nicely detailed. It's also got a name. Okay, that's the wing detailing like so. Here's the other one as well, but there's actually a bit of a minority of such a problem like this. Not much of it has been detailed on the top of the head though, which is not that great though, eh? I suppose. But what I really like about this toy is that's actually the shade of green is actually very appropriate though. In a sense, that's a much more appropriate shade of green compared to the other previous times where I used to make blue tips and whatnot, eh? And you know, these guys are actually fairly common, and they're actually quite nice. I love their flapping sounds. Very beautiful indeed. I have to say, these guys are really, really amazing. Oh wow, blue tits. Love them, I hate them. They're very classic. As alongside robins, they're very, very beautiful to look at though, eh? But unlike robins, these guys can flock anywhere, especially on roosting sites, maybe breeding colonies of such. yes, it's fairly nice. I did cover blue tips back down there, eh? Often mistake these for groat tips, but you know what? They're actually quite nice to have them, I suppose, eh? It's almost quite bland, but you know what? It's actually not too bad. Okay, last but by no means least, it's a flip-up origami. Look at this, it's a Vietnam 2021 toy. It's called Brogan and Vinny Percussion Musical Duo 5-pack. I don't know if these types of instruments there, I believe they're maracas. I don't know if maracas is like a type of percussion instrument though. Please correct me if I'm wrong though, because I'm not really good at my instruments there. It costs about £5.99 or £6. And there's the back of the packaging, and it looks like Vinny the Vietnamese greenfinch is playing some sort of... It looks like he's playing with some sort of monkey drum. You know, whenever you hear it in the Brazilian carnival, you know, the samba sort of drum there. I think it's called a cuica, I suppose, eh? Please correct if I'm wrong there. Also, we don't... same bland information here. Don't need to go ahead and... Alright, let's just see what we've got. Ooh! That's quite interesting. We don't often see these characters in... That's a nice size. That's very interesting, eh? It's quite strange. A lot of the Vietnamese 2021 toys come in these type of envelopes like this, which is quite strange. I remember doing a 6-pack, which was much, much nicer, I suppose, eh? And with that large envelope, I suppose, eh? And you know what? It looks quite good. Looks quite brilliant, I suppose, eh? You've got like this sort of Quaker drum. And you've also got some maracas as well, where you can actually, it's a little bit like a minifigure sort of set there. I don't think you can attach the box into Vinny's hands. Maybe you can, I suppose, if you're lucky or not, I suppose, but, yeah, I actually noticed the feet are actually quite good in this toy. And I don't know if I can fit in the box, but, well, it's just making it fall over like that. Nope. It doesn't seem to work nicely though with that sort of product though, but you know what? It's just a minor sort of fault though that's going around with this sort of toy. Kind of interesting, sort of interesting, but looks quite nice. I think Vinny the Vietnamese greenfinch is actually having a bit of trouble to stand up though. Maybe I should do this and then maybe plonk it to the other side there. But maybe I can't. Let's go ahead and take a look at Brogan, the black and red broad barrel. Looks like he's got a very different eye colorization here, which is a bit different to this one here. And again, that's a very okay sort of thing, alright. This figure has got like a beak, which is supposed to be blue, but there's a bit of green on him as well. If you look at Brogan here, he actually looks like he's got like a greenish beak on the top there, you know, on the top mandible. So let me just plonk in those maracas and see how they look. It's a little bit like Lego minifigures. And it's also a little bit like the toy that I did with Flappers, where he's got like an assortment of plant things. How weird is that one, eh? I suppose. And it's actually quite nice to make some of these toys. Would have never thought Flip Flap would basically make toys a little bit like Lego minifigures or Kinder Surprise toys. And look at that! Look at that! He's completely blind! How is he going to be using these maracas when he's completely blind? He's quite blind, I suppose, eh? How freaking weird is that one, eh? But you know what? It's actually quite a great sort of flip-flap toy idea, I suppose, eh? But, you know what? Even though that the monkey drum is a bit too bland, I suppose, eh? With Vinny the Vietnamese greenfinch, I suppose. You know what? It's actually quite a great-looking toy. Now look at that, he's doing some sort of weird Caganese sort of pose. It looks like he's going to poop from the deck here. But to be quite obviously honest, eh? That's a very nice scene. You know, a scene out of a Brazilian carnival scene. Maybe somewhere in a tropical jungle-y sort of country, eh? Where samba also originates at. And you know what? It's actually quite a great looking set of tropical birds playing some musical instruments coming from another country. But yet again, it's a Vietnamese 2021 themed toy, so why should this theme be a lot more Vietnamese? Or shouldn't this theme be a lot more Vietnamese? Well, unfortunately, it's a lot more Brazilian by the looks of it, eh? South American, obviously, precisely. Right? Whew. Well, that was pretty much a very tough video talking about the few shortages that we have in the country on where I reside, and also 8 flip-out toys that I've been reviewing so far all the way to the bottom as I'm making so far, and strangely enough, as I've been making videos like this for a fairly long time, you know what I'm going to say next, don't you? If you really enjoyed this video, and I know I have to say it's been a very serious topic at the start there, and I'm very sorry about that, Renee. If you really do, please give this video a like, subscribe for more flip-out content onto my YouTube channel, and I'm really sorry for taking it so long. And yes, once again, I didn't even expect to go ahead and cover about the gas shortages that we've been talking about recently in this video, eh? Maybe it's something for the YouTube algorithm to test for. If you have been suffering from these problems, please do so. Leave a comment down below and tell me how you feel about the gas shortage problems though. I would really love to acknowledge these problems so far though, because I can heavily address those problems so easily, even though I'm not really a person who works in the fuel industry. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I know I've been making this video earlier than 7 or 12 o'clock though. Actually later than 7 o'clock, eh? Well, obviously I've been making this video as earlier than 12 o'clock, as early as 8 or 9 o'clock. So, I think I better end this video, before this video drags on for a very long time. And as always, thank you so much for watching this video, and goodbye for now.